Hey, welcome back. I'm Ferrickster, here to bring you some more Pokemon Go Battle League battles. These battles are played in the Retro Cup, and they're not GBL, they are still practice matches. I stream on Monday, so I have to actually save my sets for tonight. I can't have done them yet, I'm sorry. But all of my matches are against current legends, so the quality of gameplay should be really high. And before I jump into that, I should probably apologize for clearing my throat and coughing into everyone's ear yesterday. I am so embarrassed about that, but I have a post-nasal drip, so there's always something trying to go down the back of my throat and drown me. And yeah, so sometimes I just have to kind of clear my throat to prevent myself from choking. And yeah, I don't know. It was just really bad yesterday. I'm really sorry. I don't know what to say. But yeah, let's hop into these games. So I have two best of threes here against AmbivalentSoul and against BloodyBananas second. And then after that, I have challenged Wh1skeyITJ to a 7-game scrimmage. And Wh1skeyITJ, very talented battler, was number 1 on the leaderboard 4 days ago, and 3 days ago, and 2 days ago, and today. So not even that he just got there and sat there. He made his way there in Ultra Premiere and, queued up, won most of his games, and now he's high enough that his queue times are probably like 2 hours long. So his Retro Cup battles with me might be the only Retro Cup battles that he ever gets to play. So, yeah, hopefully we enjoy those. Into commentating this first match. I switched Hypno into Snorlax, which is a terrible, terrible mistake. See, I had absorbed all of those licks on Munchlax, and then I figured, well, it's not like his attacks are that strong. I'll switch into Hypno. Maybe I can catch a superpower. That would be amazing. And if not, the body slams, they surely won't hurt that much. And the licks, they won't hurt that much because he already licked up a bunch. He already has so much energy. But in fact, Snorlax is just a really, really hard Hypno counter, and that was a terrible swap-in for me. But that is why we do practice battles. I really, really should have sent Whiscash instead. And now I make a second mistake, which is bringing Munchlax back in to farm up energy. But you can't farm down a Snorlax with a Munchlax unless they've got, like that much HP, but that is not what he had. So I undercharged this Body Slam, and not enough for him to survive with a Sliver. And my opponent has a Lucario left over in the back, which isn't actually allowed, AmbivalentSoul. AmbivalentSoul feeling pretty ambivalent about the rules, bringing a Steel type to a Retro Cup match. Thank you, sir. So Altaria comes back out. And at this point, I'm pretty confident that he's not going to shield because one of the easiest win conditions for me is to Mud Bomb bait, and I know that he knows that. So just going to throw the Blizzard right away, and now I am forced to absorb this Power-Up Punch on Whiscash, who barely survives. I get to throw this Mud Bomb on this Lucario that's not allowed to be here at all. Definitely disregard this first game. And yeah, my Munchlax comes back out and gets punched down by this thing that just should not be here, but here it is, punching me in the face. There I go. There goes my Munchlax. Well, I guess you win that game, AmbivalentSoul. Well done. Yes. Alright, so on to game 2. Opening Altaria into Marowak. So Altaria isn't a wall to Marowak, but I definitely don't have to shield anything that it throws. This is the Fire Spin variant. Some people are running Hex, because Hex actually makes a little bit more sense in this meta for the most part. Can absorb the first Shadow Bone, no problem. He gets the defense drop, which means the second Shadow Bone would actually do devastating damage and take me out. So because he got the defense drop, I throw this Sky attack, and I probably should have just thrown the Dragon Pulse. He banks a Shadow Bone and swaps out into Hypno. I bring my Frostlass in on it, and Frostlass is a fantastic Pokemon in this meta. The more I play these games, the more I'm convinced that Frostlass should be a huge major player on a lot of people's teams. It does really well in the lead, it makes an adequate safe swap, and it makes a really strong closer. I've seen it used in all 3 positions, and it has been really excelling in all of those places. So I let myself go down to this Hypno, and I bring Mew out. And here I CMP tie. Mew wins CMP tie with Hypno, and throw this Surf. So if he wants to shield, that is totally fine with me. We can exchange shields and I can farm down, but my opponent wisely does not do that. And now I've got a Mew with energy and 2 shields, which is pretty dangerous. Pelipper comes out, and obviously Wild Charge would one-shot Pelipper. I sneak in a Shadow Claw there, which is nice. Now I'm just going to shield this Weather Ball, and I just need to build up to nearly 2 Wild Charges and then throw them. I don't know how he managed to catch that Wild Charge. I wasn't even at 2. I was at 11 Shadow Claws. It's a completely wild catch. But I swap out right away so that I don't start taking, so that I can clear my debuff, bring in Altaria, and throw my first Sky Attack. And my opponent is trying to farm me all the way down. That is pretty much their win condition. They have to end with energy because Mew is super, super close to a Wild Charge. But yeah, not able to farm me down. Altaria makes it to the Sky Attack, and I'm able to take that second game. GG. All right, and into game 3. Frostlass in lead versus Poliwrath. Frostlass is, I mean, Poliwrath is not a particularly meta pick for this cup. He switches out into Mew, and I switch into Munchlax probably a little too slow. The Shadow Claws were really doing a lot of damage to Frostlass. If I was going to charge up like that, I should have at least thrown an Avalanche to force a shield and then get out. My opponent is running Flame Charge, Wild Charge, which is the set that I usually run, but probably would go with Surf in this meta, and Munchlax is able to lick the whole way down. So now Poliwrath comes out, and I am going to unload all of this energy on Poliwrath. Poliwrath is kind of bulky, but I mean, these body slams definitely chunk, and you really can't farm down with Mudshot on Munchlax from this range. He switches into Flygon, which also can't really Mudshot down Munchlax, so I'm going to throw this next body slam, and then I'm just going to switch into Frostlass and start throwing double super effective Powder Snows. Build up 2 and throw this Avalanche. Excuse me. And continuing to Powder Snow down. He could be up to an Earth Power, so I'm going to shield this first move in. It is a Dragon Claw bait. Should have just thrown the Avalanche here, but I didn't think that he was so close to another move. And I also thought I would survive this Dragon Claw, and I just barely do. Able to get up here, and I throw a resisted Avalanche for no good reason. I really should have thrown the Shadow Ball, but it's still enough to take out Poliwrath because Frostlass hits so unbelievably hard. And managed to take that game. GG. All right. Next best of 3 is against BloodyBananas. Very talented Twitch streamer and all around okay guy. He thought that I was he thought that I wasn't going to include these videos because, spoiler alert, he beats me, but no. I'm not like that. I'm going to throw this in anyway. You went through the trouble of doing the battles with me. I'm going to include them. Thank you, Bloody, for taking the time. Bloody opens Shadow Dragonite. And Shadow Dragonite into Munchlax is honestly fine. He switches out and catches a... I mean, it wasn't even quite a catch. I could have just not thrown that and kept building up against this Frostlass. But I don't know. I just kind of panicked through the Body Slam when he swapped out because it's a reflex that we're used to developing. But gonna lick down this Frostlass, and now I'm gonna throw my Bulldoze. At this health range, it would actually KO. He correctly calls it and shields, and now I am at 0 shields, and the Frostlass is here, and it is pretty bad for me. Frostlass with a ton of energy is so freaking dangerous unless you have a dedicated hard counter to it. I tried to catch an Avalanche, but no dice, so I am going to end up eating this Shadow Ball. And they had so much energy that almost was able to get to another Avalanche. And yeah, there's a Lantern in the back, so this game is looking kind of over. Like, Wh1skey will not wall Lantern, but can do a ton of damage, but my switch timer isn't out, so I get farmed all the way down. I bring Wh1skey out. They are throwing the Thunderbolt really early instead of building up to and throwing the Hydro Cannon or the Hydro Pump, because their Dragonite had Dragon Claw stored, and you know, all they needed to do was get me low enough, and then they could bring Shadow Dragonite in and snipe my Wh1skey with that. All right, and on into game 2. So Altaria versus Dragonite, Shadow Dragonite. Altaria wins against Shadow and non-Shadow. You basically just Dragon Breath the entire way down and shield the Dragon Claw when it comes. He gets the Dragon Claw before you get to the Sky Attack, so no reason to throw a Sky Attack in the first place. And then my opponent swaps out into Lantern. So I am going to throw this Dragon Pulse because it does pretty respectable damage. And I don't have a hard response to Lantern either. Was building up towards the Sky Attack, but they reached their Thunderbolt first. So I'm just going to let this go, and now I'm going to bring Mew in and farm the whole way. Oh my gosh, I don't bring Mew in. I bring Frostlass in instead. That is a terrible decision. Oh my gosh, why did I do that? That's awful. I really should have brought Mew in to farm down Frostlass. Not the right choice, because Frostlass cannot farm down like that. And now I'm up a little bit of energy, but down a shield. And, you know, if I had Mew with energy, that would have been a lot better. So correctly shields the first Shadow Ball. There's barely any reason to try to bait Avalanche in this situation, because I'm not going to be able to get an entire move up over on them. And he switched out to Dragonite to try to catch a move from me, but instead I just get to farm down with Mew. And now I'm going to throw this Surf. And they correctly no-shield. And now they are throwing their Shadow Ball as soon as they have it, which means they are going to be energy dry. And they sneak in one Powder Snow. I'm able to throw this Avalanche. Avalanche would KO from this range, but they have a shield. And now I just have to get to this next Avalanche. I get to it at the same time they do, but my Frostlass is not that good IV-wise. So I actually win a lot of CMPs with it. And yeah, able to just barely take that game. GG. All right. And on to game 3. Frostlass open into Shadow Dragonite again. BloodyBananas has established his team, and he clearly plans to run it continuously. So yeah, if anyone encounters BloodyBananas out there in the wild, that's the squad right there. So I switch into Lantern, and I bring out Munchlax. I'm just going to go straight Bulldoze. Managed to land, so that's fantastic. Now they're in Body Slam range. I'm going to shield this move because it is most likely the Hydro Pump. And now I can just throw my Body Slam before they get to their next, before they get to their Thunderbolt, which is right around there. Able to take out Lantern if they wanted to exchange shields. I would have gladly done it. That would have been fine. And now Dragonite's going to come back out. Going to build up to and then just throw the Body Slam as soon as I have it. And should probably have swapped out into Frostlass there to start farming up energy, but I didn't, and now I just, oh my gosh. And I leave Munchlax in, and I don't quite make it to the Bulldoze, so I throw the Body Slam, hoping to at least get a shield, and I don't, which is pretty bad, because now there's a Frostlass with a bunch of energy, and I'm down a shield. Again, I don't know how I could do this to myself. Frostlass just, yeah, really strong as a closer. So I eat the first Avalanche because I know I'll survive it. If they had Shadow Balled me, they would have been able to Powder Snow me down a lot more easily. Now I'm going to be able to get to another Weather Ball, so Bloody opts to throw their charge move before I make it. Throws the Shadow Ball, perhaps assuming that I might have tried to switch out to catch. Sometimes you actually catch someone like that throwing the Shadow Ball and it just completely demolishes them. Their moves are so similar in cost. It makes sense to do these kind of little minute plays, try to get ahead. I'm going to shield up, and they're actually baiting Avalanche, which is not cool, man. Not cool at all. Reaches their next move, and it is just an Avalanche, so I am just going to farm the whole way down. Luckily, it didn't lose the CMP there. And yeah, Dragonite comes back out, but already had a move stored. So yeah, just going to land this Dragon Claw and manage to take me out. GG. Really good plays, and BloodyBananas definitely had fantastic energy management in that game. Can't fault him for kicking my ass there. All right. So now, the 7-game scrimmage against Wh1skeyITJ. Frostlass into Altaria. I win this lead a lot, and I make a huge mistake here, which is staying in when he switches into Dragonair. It's pretty clear that when they lead Dragon Breath and switch into Dragon Breath, that they're running triple Dragon Breath, and I should really be saving Frostlass for Altaria because you can do more fast move damage there and can, you know, and Frostlass... Sorry, Altaria's Dragon Breaths don't hurt as much as Dragonair's because Altaria is a lot bulkier, so has lower attack. So if I had switched out earlier into my own Altaria, I could have just farmed this Dragonair down and, you know, saved Frostlass for his Altaria, where it could have done a lot more good. So, brings his own Altaria back out. I can safely assume there's another Dragon Breath user in the back, but I don't know what that would be. Build up to and throw the Dragon Pulse. It lands, and then he switches out, and it's a Kingdra in the back. I go to try to reach the Sky Attack, but I faint just before I get there. And he's got a Kingdra with some energy, but he's not quite out of move yet. So I'm going to send out Frostlass. I'm just going to throw the Avalanche as soon as I've got it. It would hit for neutral and do devastating damage. I throw one more Powder Snow before switching out to Bibarel to catch the Octazooka. So this would be fine, except that he gets the attack debuff. 50-50 shot. He gets it this time. That's all right. Building up. I'm just trying to get this Hyper Fang out. He's building up towards a Dragon Pulse. Land the Hyper Fang. It's just barely not quite enough to take him out. And because it wasn't enough to take him out, he is able to throw this Octazooka and gets another attack debuff. And so my water guns are doing literally nothing. And yeah, he's able to farm my Bibarel down and have a Sky Attack ready for Frostlass when it comes back out. So, all right, GG. Whiskey takes game 1 of this 7-game battle. All right, so into game 2. Lapras into Medicham. Terribly lost lead for me. Was not feeling good about this at all. I switch out to Galvantula right away, and he switches in Drifblim, which is not a Galvantula counter. I am going straight for the discharge, and it lands. Does devastating damage, and I take it down before Drifblim's even able to throw an Icy Wind. So that is really, really rough for Whiskey. Medicham comes back out, which is fine for me. I am just going to throw this lunge. Was kind of anticipating getting a shield at this point, but I mean, the lunge and the discharge, neither of them would really take Medicham out from that range. Discharge only does slightly more, actually. So I'm going to shield this move. Was expecting an Ice Punch, and I actually shielded the Psychic, which is amazing for me. Throw one extra Volt Switch, and then I'm going to throw my lunge. Managed to take out Medicham, which means he's only got one Pokemon left on the back, and it's a Frostlass. Frostlass with 2 shields, but I am going to be able to throw this lunge before I faint out and lower Frostlass's attack. So now that Frostlass has been debuffed, I can just send out Lapras. And I don't have to shield any of these. It would be really weird to Avalanche bait, but even the Shadow Ball, because I have debuffed the Frostlass, the Shadow Ball is not enough to even take me out after 2. So he's going to end up having to throw a third. I throw this Surf. He doesn't bother to shield because Whiskey recognizes that this game is over, and we are just going to fast move each other until one of us faints, because that is the fastest way to get through a match. And, you know, you don't really want to leave when you do one of these kinds of games, because then you'd have to, you know, rescan, resend. And Niantic is really good about erroring out games when you do things like that. So it's better to just let somebody faint and then push rematch. Just the easiest way to go about it. All right, game 4. So I win this lead, or sorry, game 3. I win this lead terrifically, and win the swap even more strongly than that. So Pelipper is up to 7 wing attacks, and it would take 3 more for them to get to another Weather Ball. They would in fact get to it if I did not throw this charge move. So I'm not going to bother undercharging it. I am just going to land the discharge and, you know, take switch advantage. I still have enough health to probably get something done if Abomasnow were to come back out. And sending Abomasnow out here is maybe not even an incredible decision. Just because, like, Abomasnow is going to farm up a ton of energy here. Take the damage obviously doesn't matter, and they are just going to farm me all the way down. But that energy doesn't really have anywhere to go because Marowak is such a wall to it. My opponent swaps into Kingdra, swaps into Politoed, and I respond by swapping into Kingdra. This is just hard counter city. I did not have to play this particular matchup incredibly well. I just have hard countered him very, very strongly on the lead, on the swap, and in the back line. So I'm not going to shield here. I know Whiskey has a tendency to bait more often than most players. I'm just going to absorb that energy ball and now just bring Marowak out. And not a shield was spent the entire match. All right. So now into game 4. Opening Hypno into Dugong. This is a neutral-ish matchup. Dugong does win it. If I ended up letting them throw their charge move first because I was trying to sneak into Confusion. I thought maybe I'd be able to do that, but Whiskey's fast move denial is too good for that. So I'm just going to throw my Thunder Punch immediately after. My fast move denial is okay too, not able to sneak in on Ice Shard. So that's fine. That means I'm going to be able to beat him to the second Thunder Punch. I throw this in the middle of his Ice Shard animation. And this one gets the shield. So I am going to no shield here. And the plan after this, now that I'm double debuffed, is to absorb this Icy Wind and then immediately swap out. And my opponent also is planning to instantly switch out. switches out into Munchlax, probably to get some licks in on Hypno. The lick damage can be very, very strong. So I'm going to shield because it could have been a Bulldoze, but now it's just a Body Slam bait. I get baited a lot in these games. Build up 2, and now I am throwing the Thunderbolt. This would not quite be enough to KO if it lands, and it does. So I'm just able to throw one more Volt Switch and manage to take out the Munchlax. I mean, he can't send out Dugong, so I'm going to find out what's in the back end. It's a Medicham, pretty hard counter. Going to build up 2 and throw this Thunderbolt. If this were to land, it would probably do like 35-40%, but opponent opts to use his last shield there. I know that this Medicham probably has energy, so I send Hypno out to absorb whatever it turns out to be. And it turns out to be an Ice Punch. That's fine. I immediately switch out to Altaria. He responds by swapping in his Dugong. And, I mean, at this point, I just need to get this Sky Attack off before he throws his next Icy Wind. I throw it here right before he gets to it. Managed to take out the Dugong, and now I still have a shield left over, and this Medicham didn't have that much energy built up. So I'm just going to shield this Ice Punch, and he should be at least 3-4 counters away from the next one. I'm going to be able to get to my Sky Attack, and once I've landed that, the game is basically over, or completely over. How much does this do? Oh, that KOs from that range. All right, GG. All right, staging a fantastic comeback after losing the first game horrifically. All right, Pelipper into Galvantula. This is a really, really bad lead. I throw one Wing Attack before I swap out and transfer the damage from that Volt Switch onto Frostlass. And he opts to stay in and throw his charge move. I call the bait here, and it is in fact a lunge. And then he brings in Gengar, so probably good that I didn't shield that, because having a little bit extra health would have just been a little bit more farm for the Gengar. Just completely slaughters Frostlass. Oh my god, such a strong Frostlass counter. But that's all right. Respond by bringing in Munchlax. This Gengar is built up to a Focus Blast, and I am debating not, and I actually shield up the Focus Blast correctly. Humongous shield. Oh my gosh. And this Gengar is just barely able to make it to a Shadow Punch, but that does not really anything to Munchlax. And I have licked the whole way down, so Munchlax has a bunch of energy. And I still have Pelipper. And I immediately switch out when I see Lapras come in, because I know that his switch timer isn't quite up yet, so he can't just respond by immediately sending in Galvantula to farm me down. I threw the Weather Ball bait, and he called it, and that is not amazing, but it also means that I at least have energy to land this Weather Ball here. I should have thrown one more Wing Attack before I threw that, but I don't think that would have made a difference. I mean, I lost one Wing Attack of damage, but it wouldn't have changed anything. I end up having to eat this lunge, correctly no shield that, but now my attack is down, and I cannot swap out to clear my debuff. So, just going to throw this Body Slam as soon as I have it. And at this point, the Lapras is actually built all the way up to a Skull Bash. I don't think they would do it, but he actually did. So I correctly shield the Skull Bash. That is huge. Humongous shield again. Going to throw this Body Slam. And it does not do what it would do if they weren't buffed. So, yeah, I wait till the very last second, get in all the licks that I can, and right before they reach their Surf, I throw this Body Slam, and it just barely takes them out. So close. But, yeah, GG to my opponent. That was a crazy close game. Oh, my gosh. All right. Next up. Altaria into Diggersby. All right, so this is... Now I am hard countering him. That seems only fair. He switches into Deoxys, and I respond by sending in Mew. And Mew is a decent Deoxys counter. I like it a lot more if I'm running Flame Charge, which is kind of my normal set, but Wild Charge Surf is the normal set, and the recommended set for Retro Cup, by the way, is Ice Beam and Rock Slide. But I don't have 500 Charge TMs to spend to get that, so just going to settle for Surf and Wild Charge. Here I make the decision to let my Mew go down, because Altaria and Frostlass are both totally fine counters to Diggersby, so I would rather just have a double shielded Frostlass with some energy. So I just come in, bring Frostlass into Deoxys, and farm it down. Land this first Avalanche. Diggersby is so freaking thick. Oh my gosh. Tanks that like it's not a Avalanche from Frostlass. throws the fire punch. I switch out. We have some interesting lag, but I managed to make my switch out to Altaria to catch this second fire punch. Knew it was going to come as soon as he had it. And yeah, he left over. He has Medicham in the back, which does not do amazing versus Altaria and does not do amazing versus Frostlass either. So this is basically just a straight team composition win. I did not have to play this matchup incredibly well. Didn't have to make any fancy catches. As long as I didn't botch this, I was going to win this game just based on team composition alone. Land that Sky Attack, take out Medicham, and just Dragon Breath down the Diggersby. Doesn't even bother to throw a Mudshot. And GG. Take that game too. And I think this is the last game. I think this is game 7. Alright, Frostlass opening into Galvantula. So as long as I don't lag, I will reach my Avalanche exactly when they reach their discharge, but I did lag, so I am 1 Powder Snow behind where I would be normally. Shield, and it turns out to be a lunge again. I really should not have shielded that. Switches out to Lapras, and I decide instead of throwing my Shadow Ball and throwing my energy, I decided to just bank it since I've already been debuffed. And just bring Munchlax into to this Lapras. So I only counted 7, but apparently my opponent had snuck in a charge move when I wasn't paying attention, or I just don't know how to count. Counting is really hard. Buffs his defense, and now I am going to throw this Body Slam. Oh my gosh, that Skull Bash did so much damage. Not able to reach a second Body Slam. And now I send out Pelipper. They insta through, which is what I was hoping for, so I'm just going to absorb this Surf, no problem. And, yeah, I'll try to wing attack the whole way down. I'm going to end up eating another Surf here, but that is okay. The damage is really starting to add up, and I don't have a ton of health left on anything. But I do still have my shield, and I have so much energy banked. I switch out to Frostlass, which is weird. I'm at 100 energy. I really probably should have just tried to wing attack the whole way down, but my opponent swaps out into Haunter to catch my Avalanche, and I'm just going to throw my second one instantly rather than trying to build up energy because the Shadow Claws from Haunter do such devastating damage. Can't really afford to take 1 or 2 of those. And now Galvantula comes back out, but that's all right. I still got a shield. I'm just going to shield this lunge and throw my Avalanche as soon as after throwing 1 extra Powder Snow, because I get that one in for free. His Voltus won't register. And I mean, my Pelipper has energy left over in the back too, so managed to take that game. Yeah, GG to my opponent. Those were really fun matches, and a lot of those were really, really close games. I managed to go 6 out of 7, which is fantastic. But, I mean, Wh1skey was due for a couple of losses after his absolutely insane run in Ultra League and GBL. But, yeah, shout out to Wh1skeyITJ. Thank you very much for, doing these battles with me and helping me create content. And, yeah, I don't know. If you guys like this kind of content, do the things you're supposed to do at the ends of videos. Sorry again for doing that thing to your ears the other day. And, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.